WWE CEO Nick Khan confirms there are a bunch of surprises for WrestleMania 39. And speaking of said surprises, we might have a couple here today when it comes to certain matches for WrestleMania, so stay tuned for that. The lineups of WrestleMania Night 1 and 2 have been revealed, leading to some speculation about what is actually opening and closing each respective night. We've got details on both lineups for both nights of WrestleMania. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to pay tribute to PWG at WrestleMania 39. We've got details on that. Big E gives an update on his recovery from a broken neck amid rumours he could be making an appearance at WrestleMania. Bobby Lashley talks about if he's even going to be having a match against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. WWE is set to blur the fourth wall when it comes to a sponsorship at WrestleMania this year too. We've got details on that. Apparently there's going to be a reference to the LWO on SmackDown this week. We've got more details on what that even is going to consist of. Gangrel arrives in Los Angeles ahead of a rumoured WrestleMania appearance. We also might have a music performance spoiler for WrestleMania 39. A really fun story about how Drew Gulak helped Stone Cold Steve Austin prepare for his WrestleMania 38 match last year against Kevin Owens. And could Kairi be wrestling in the Royal Rumble next year? Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of World Wrestling Entertainment. Let's start off talking about WrestleMania. Of course, we're just hours away, days away from WrestleMania 39. WrestleMania weekend is nearly upon us, and lots of people are excited, and lots of people are speculating about certain surprises that we could be in store for this weekend at the Showcase of the Immortals. We're just 2 days away from WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles, California, and WWE, of course, has now officially announced the lineup for both nights of the show, which we'll get into in just a second. WWE CEO Nick Khan spoke to Stephen A. Smith on ESPN's First Take, where they officially revealed which announced matches would take place on which night. On top of that, Khan said to expect a bunch of surprises for the show. Of course, there have been reports about possibly Randy Orton being in Los Angeles for the show, with many expecting him to appear on either the show itself or on Monday Night Raw the following night, maybe getting involved with Cody Rhodes, given their relationship. There's been rumors about Bray Wyatt. There's been rumors about cameos from Stone Cold Steve Austin, all that kind of stuff. So if we get any more details as we get closer, of course, we'll let you know. But in addition to that, we'll make sure that you're aware of any spoilers that are coming, considering it's the biggest show of the year and you don't want to be spoiled. Now, let's get into the lineups. I mentioned they have now officially been released and announced. You can see WrestleMania Saturday on the screen right there. WWE has officially revealed the lineups for both nights of WrestleMania 39 this weekend in Los Angeles, per ESPN's First Take. The official lineups are as follows. WrestleMania Saturday will have the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship match with the Usos. Will be defending against Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. The SmackDown Women's Championship will be on the line on WrestleMania Saturday as Charlotte Flair defends against Rhea Ripley. Of course, Ripley won the 2023 Women's Royal Rumble match. We do know that the show is going to be kicked off with a United States Championship match as Austin Theory defends against John Cena. There was a bit of confusion surrounding the poster and concerning the way that WrestleMania Saturday was announced. We'll talk about that in just a second, because as you can see on the poster for WrestleMania Saturday there, John Cena and Austin Theory are featured front and center, and the language that they used on ESPN's The First Take was that it was going to be headlined by this match, and the poster certainly appears to suggest that it's Cena versus Austin Theory headlining that, and people are saying, but I thought that was opening the show, not the main event. We've got details on that in just a second. In addition to those matches we just spoke about, there will be the men's tag team showcase four-way match with Braun Strowman teaming up with Ricochet, facing off against the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, and the Viking Raiders. We're also going to have Seth freaking Rollins facing off against Logan Paul, that being Logan Paul's birthday, April 1st. Becky Lynch, Lita, and Trish Stratus, who of course Lynch and Lita, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, will be facing off against Damage Control on Saturday. And we'll also have the father versus son clash as Rey Mysterio faces off against Dominic Mysterio, a father versus a son for only the second time in WWE history. Now, just before we move on to night 2, WrestleMania Sunday, as I mentioned, there was a bit of confusion surrounding the John Cena Austin Theory match. Again, the language that they used was that this was going to be the match that was headlining WrestleMania Saturday, and people said, well, didn't on SmackDown last week they said it was going to kick off WrestleMania weekend, and they're featured front and center on the poster. just for clarification, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, they have confirmed with WWE that John Cena and Austin Theory are indeed opening night one. They're not going to be main eventing. Many people were confused by the graphic that had them featured so prominently and saying that it was headlined by that, but indeed, no. They're not going to be main eventing or anything like that. One thing is for certain, though, they don't actually say, and they haven't actually said still, what is going to be the main event. Maybe they'll reveal that on Friday on SmackDown tomorrow. It is curious that Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley is listed higher than the Usos versus Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, them being the two matches that most people expect to either to main event WrestleMania. So it's still up in the air. Maybe it's because at the moment it still actually hasn't been decided, but we'll still have to wait and see. But that's the lineup for WrestleMania Saturday. Now let's move on and talk about WrestleMania Sunday. We know what the main event's going to be for WrestleMania Sunday. That is the undisputed WWE Universal Championship match. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, will be facing off against Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, with the championship on the line. In addition to that, the Raw Women's Championship will also be on the line on WrestleMania Sunday, with Bianca Belair defending against Asuka. The Intercontinental Championship will be defended in a triple threat match. Intercontinental Champion Gunther defends against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. The Hell in a Cell showdown between WWE Hall of Famer, the Rated R Superstar Edge, and the Demon Finn Balor will take place on WrestleMania Sunday. So the Hell in a Cell returns to WrestleMania on WrestleMania Sunday, that being April 2nd. Brock Lesnar and Omos's WrestleMania showdown will take place on Sunday too. In addition to the Women's Tag Team 4-Way Showcase match, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez facing Natalya and Shotzi, Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think is the better day? Which day are you looking forward to better? Are you happy with the lineup? Are you happy with the schedule? Are you happy with WrestleMania Saturday and WrestleMania Sunday? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, we do know that, as I mentioned, on Sunday, WrestleMania Sunday, it will feature the Hell in a Cell showdown between Edge and Finn Balor. And this is a real bit of news that I'm very, very excited by. And that is that the original Hell in a Cell structure is indeed returning. We can get an image up on the screen right now. This is kind of twofold, or certainly the image looks a bit twofold. One, the red Hell in a Cell, that seems to have gone. But in addition to that, the larger, bigger Hell in a Cell looks to also be gone as well. This is really exciting stuff if you're, I think, a WWE purist or a WWE fan and a fan of the original Hell in a Cell structure. Of course, WWE WrestleMania 39 currently has 13 matches confirmed for the two-night card in Hollywood, with one of them being the aforementioned Hell in a Cell match between Edge and the Demon Finn Balor. WWE's production crew began building the WrestleMania set inside SoFi Stadium earlier this week, which led to rumors that the original Hell in a Cell structure was set to make a return this weekend. Photos indeed have now leaked. You can see them on the screen, proving that rumor is indeed true. WWE first introduced the Hell in a Cell structure in 1997 as a way to blow off a high-profile feud to whoever would compete inside of it. Of course, the first one was Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. The company then added a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view event to the annual calendar in 2009 to implement a more regular use of the match type. In 2018, WWE introduced a red Hell in a Cell cage, much to the chagrin of WWE's fan base. The red is now being stripped away. It seems to be another positive move made by WWE Chief Content Officer Paul Triple H Levesque, who put together the entire WrestleMania card for the first time in his career. It also appears that the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view itself has also been nixed, so the match can be saved for the right circumstances, such as this match between Edge and Finn Balor. But also a bit that wasn't kind of just featured there is that the red Hell in a Cell was the third iteration of it. The original one was much smaller, much more compact. It only had sort of one level. It was basically a steel cage with a roof on that went around the ring. That was essentially what the Hell in a Cell was. And then in 2006, I believe it was, for the first time we saw the Hell in a Cell essentially get upgraded. That was at Unforgiven 2006 when D-Generation X faced off against Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, and the ECW World Champion at the time, The Big Show. It got made bigger. An extra level was given to it to give more space, to give this more bigger feel to it, but it would appear that they have gone back to the original, more compact, smaller steel Hell in a Cell cage, which I don't know about you, I'm very, very happy about. Now, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn will be teaming up, hopefully to become the WWE Tag Team Champions for the first time in their careers as a team. And on this week's episode of Monday Night Raw, during their promo hyping up their match with the Usos at WrestleMania, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn would make a reference that would perk the ears of longtime fans of theirs. During the segment, Owens and Zayn would state that winning the WWE Undisputed Tag Team titles in Los Angeles would be special due to LA's significance to both of their careers. This reference was a nod to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, PWG, the LA-based promotion which Owens and Zayn made their names in prior to their runs with Ring of Honor and WWE. Ahead of their massive weekend at WrestleMania, Owens would speak to TVA Sports, where he revealed that as well as Monday's nod to PWG, there will be yet another one coming, or actually on the show itself, at the show of shows. Owens said while shouting out PWG co-founders Excalibur and Super Dragon, "For sure, I'd like to thank Excalibur and Super Dragon. The fact that WrestleMania is in Los Angeles is huge for us, and the gear we'll be wearing for our match will have a little nod to PWG. Without Super Dragon, we would not be where we are today." So keep an eye out because there is going to be a PWG reference from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. Now, one of the rumors going around ahead of WrestleMania is that we could see an appearance by Big E. Initially, it got confused with he was going to actually be in some kind of sort of physical confrontation. Then it got clarified that WWE was thinking about maybe doing a skit with the New Day with all three members being there for the first time in a long time. But we don't know. But Big E, for one thing, has given us an update on his health right now, which is the most important thing. Former WWE Champion Big E has not been seen on WWE television since he suffered a broken neck on the March 11, 2022 episode of SmackDown. Big E fractured his C1 vertebrae and his C6 vertebrae after a belly-to-belly suplex from Ridge Holland on the outside of the ring. With the injury now reaching the 1-year mark, E continued to note during his recovery that he would need to be evaluated for a potential return to the ring at the 1-year mark. Recent reports have noted that WWE had potentially planned a WrestleMania appearance from Big E on the show, which may now have been scrapped, as I mentioned, due to Kofi Kingston's injury. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, Big E provided the latest update on his injury, noting he still hasn't had his 1-year checkup just yet. He said, quote, "Still haven't got the 1-year checkups yet. We're actually going to do that when we get back home after WrestleMania. Early April, during that first week, we'll get another set of scans. Right now, the thought was, after 3 months, I should be ready. But because of the nature of my fracture, I broke my C1 in 2 places, and it's a Jefferson fracture. Sometimes, unfortunately, with that injury, thankfully, there's no displacement, so we didn't need to have surgery, and all the bones were still in place to hopefully heal together properly. It's healing fibrously, meaning it's connected enough that I can walk around and no one is concerned that I'm going to be in any pain or have any issues, but it's not ossifying yet. It's not turning completely into bone. To deal with the rigors of bumping and doing what we do on a nightly basis, you want to make sure your C1 is completely ossified. It's all bone and it's in the best shape possible. The plan is to get more scans at the first week of April, have the doctors review them and make a decision from there. Your C1 is an important bone and I want to make the best decision health-wise for myself. You don't want to rush. I've been in rehab for 9 months, working on strength and range of motion, and all of that has been great. That's where we're at right now. We'll get the scans and we'll move from there. So as of right now, Big E really doesn't know. And like he says, until he gets those scans, he doesn't really have any idea. So fingers crossed those scans go well for him after WrestleMania. This is quite a curious story, actually. It's now been indicated that there will be a reference to the Latino World Order on Friday's edition of SmackDown on Fox. Now, this week's edition of SmackDown will be a big show. It's the final episode of WWE television before WrestleMania 39 on Saturday and Sunday. And per WRKD Wrestling on Twitter, fans can expect a homage to the former WCW stable, the LWO, on the show. WRKD Wrestling shared the following on Twitter, quote, "You can expect a reference to the LWO on SmackDown tomorrow night. Now, if you're not familiar, the Latino World Order faction notably featured several top names during the stable's run, with the likes of Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, who also feuded with the group. Mysterio will indeed be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame by Conan at the ceremony, which will take place after SmackDown, so Conan seemingly will be there in the arena, so they could do something like that. Conan notably has ties to the LWO, who was originally set to lead the group in 1998 before Conan joined NWO Wolfpack. So they might do something like that. It'll be interesting to see what they actually do end up doing on SmackDown with that. Or, as is a lot of the case with a lot of social media accounts at the moment, it might be a bit wide of the mark. So don't even be shocked if that doesn't happen either. Now, we had spoken previously about the success WWE's having when it comes to sponsorships for WrestleMania 39, and an interesting update has emerged on sponsorship for the event, which of course will emanate from California's SoFi Stadium on April 1st and April 2nd. With many eyes expected to be on this weekend's event, it has now been confirmed that WWE has made a lot of money through sponsorships for WrestleMania 39. Speaking with the Associated Press, WWE Senior Vice President and Head of Global Sales and Partnerships Craig Stimmel revealed that WWE has earned $20 million in sponsorship revenue for the events, a record for any WWE shows. With 12 total sponsors for WrestleMania 39, they will be incorporated into the two-night event in many different ways. Stimmel, and this is where it gets interesting, teased that one sponsor will be incorporated via a blurring of the fourth wall between what home viewers and the live audience will see. It was also noted that WWE has a match sponsorship planned for the event. As of right now, we don't know what that is. But as of right now, I guess the lineup for each night has been confirmed, but card subject to change, so something could get announced within the next 48 hours or so. Anything's possible. WWE did have that big sponsors match at the Royal Rumble, the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match between Bray Wyatt and LA Knight, so keep an eye out. Maybe we will get that Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt match. Maybe it's going to be another sponsored match or something like that. Speaking of Lashley, he's actually spoken about Bray Wyatt and spoken about if he's going to be having a match with the former Universal Champion at WrestleMania. Now, this has been a fascinating story on the road to WrestleMania and sometimes a bit confusing and frustrating. Bobby Lashley has provided the newest update on the status of his planned match against Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 39. Prior to Elimination Chamber on February 18, the plan for Mania was Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar, but Lesnar himself nixed that idea. He said he didn't want to do it, and instead he approved a match between himself and Omos. That caused WWE to pivot to the plan being Wyatt versus Lashley, but an illness to Wyatt, which has kept him out of action for a month now, seems to have put an end to that idea. Wyatt, he might be out, although it's seemingly he is going to be in LA this week. Again, details are a bit murky. Lashley, meanwhile, he's fit and healthy. He's ready to go. He doesn't have a match scheduled for WrestleMania, though. Instead, he's scheduled for the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal on the pre-Mania episode of SmackDown tomorrow night on Fox. Speaking in a new interview with Denise Salcedo, Lashley said, quote, "Right now, we're trying to figure out what I'm going to do. Being the almighty former WWE champion and everything like that, still in search of finding that big matchup. That's what everyone wants to do when they go to WrestleMania. They want to have a big iconic matchup in front of hundreds of thousands of fans and do what we love. Right now, I'm kind of half and half, getting ready for it, prepping for that day, have a big match on Friday night. Hopefully that trickles over and causes something big for Saturday or Sunday." When asked specifically if he'd be facing Wyatt at Mania, Lashley said he has no idea. As Lashley indicated, which is true and worth keeping in mind, there could always be some kind of development on or after SmackDown that leads to him having a spot at WrestleMania, even though nothing's set in stone right now. Despite the situation, Lashley has indicated several times on social media he will be involved at WrestleMania, but what in? We don't know. Could Wyatt be there? We don't know. There's still quite a few unanswered questions, just days and hours and minutes and seconds before WrestleMania this year. Now, one thing that had been rumoured for WrestleMania 2 was that Edge was going to be getting a special entrance for his Hell in a Cell match. It was recently reported by PW Insider that former WWE superstar Gangrel was slated for an appearance at WrestleMania this year. This led to a lot of speculation that he could be doing something with Edge, who's set to take on the Demon Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell on the second night. Again, that's been confirmed now inside the original structure. Well, while it still isn't confirmed that Gangrel is going to be on the show, he recently shared to his Facebook page that he has arrived in Los Angeles ahead of the weekend. You can see his Facebook post on the screen right there. Gangrel obviously led the iconic Brood faction in the Attitude Era, which kickstarted the careers of both Edge and Christian. Edge most recently paid tribute to the group back at SummerSlam in 2021, and then Day 1 in 2022. His entrance at SummerSlam last year was kind of inspired by the Brood as well, I guess. So there was plans at one point to have Gangrel do an entrance with Edge. I forget when it was. It might have actually been SummerSlam during last year. I think maybe it was, but then it didn't happen. He ended up doing one with the Young Bucks on AEW Dynamite in their feud with the Hardy Boys. So there's lots of conventions at WrestleMania weekend as well. So there's WrestleCon, and everyone flies into where WrestleMania is. So just because he's in LA doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be on the show. But it has been rumored, and PW Insider is quite a reputable source. Speaking of surprises and spoilers, WrestleMania is traditionally the time for mainstream crossovers. And given this year's event taking place in Hollywood, this has been anticipated even further. While we've already seen that the WWE Hall of Famer Snoop Dogg, he's appeared on the promotional poster for the event. He may or may not be the only rapper to appear this weekend. A backstage image taken by Instagram user BigBHRSFN has surfaced, seemingly spilling out a potential surprise appearance from another multi-platinum artist. In the picture, presumably from backstage at SoFi Stadium, a locker room sign for Pennsylvania rapper Lil Uzi Vert can be seen alongside the WrestleMania logo. While WWE has not yet announced an appearance from the rapper, presumably if the 27-year-old was to appear, it would be in a musical capacity and not for anything physical, but we don't know either way. In terms of things musically that have been confirmed for WrestleMania, Becky G and Jimmy Allen will sing America the Beautiful on night 1 and night 2 respectively. DJ Valentino Khan has also announced he'll be performing at WrestleMania once again. So those are the musical acts, but we could also see more. There had been rumors about Edge possibly being played to the ring, but if Gangrel's there, I'm not sure how that would work. In addition to other acts as well, other superstars, other talents being played to the ring too. This is a really fun story, and it comes from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, and it's how Stone Cold Steve Austin came to getting into ring shape for WrestleMania last year. Now, Stone Cold Steve Austin's status for WrestleMania remains unknown, but he did make a comeback last year. He is in Los Angeles this weekend. Fightful Select had reported in January of 2022, if you cast your mind back, that WWE was planning to bring Stone Cold Steve Austin out of retirement. Austin himself had been hesitant since his initial 2003 retirement and was very particular about how the right situation would present itself. Not only that, Fightful has learned that Vince McMahon was also very particular in making sure Austin was ready for his impromptu WrestleMania match that would main event night 1 of the event. Fightful have been told that Vince McMahon and Drew Gulak actually flew to Stone Cold Steve Austin's ranch in Texas. Drew Gulak was running drills with Austin, and Austin started calling out spots to Gulak, almost in full character. Gulak went with it, and the two effectively had a long match, a long unseen match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Drew Gulak at Stone Cold Steve Austin's ranch. Imagine that. Gulak also ended up working with none other than the WWE Executive Chairman himself, Vince McMahon. One WWE higher-up said, "The funniest thing about all of this wasn't that Vince flew all the way out there, took Drew Gulak with him, and made sure that Austin could still go. It's that while he did that to make sure that Austin was good to go, he knew he was planning to wrestle himself, knew he sucked, still did it, and ended up having one of the worst matches and stunner sales of all time after." Basically, Vince McMahon doesn't care. And again, you don't need to tell me a Drew Gulak story to make me understand that Vince McMahon doesn't care. Finally, could Kairi be coming back to WWE? This one's been something that's been going back and forth for ages. Following a 2022 that saw numerous ex-stars make their return to the company, another former WWE superstar has revealed her aspirations of also making a WWE comeback at some point in the future. The former IWGP Women's Champion Kairi, who has very recently confirmed her free agent status, has recently spoken to Steve Fall of WrestlingNews.co and discussed a move back to the States and WWE specifically. Speaking of her WWE wish list, Kairi stated through a translator that the Royal Rumble was her favourite event, with competing in the match once again being a goal of hers. Kairi stated, quote, "Even now, the WWE Universe, they love Kairi. Even the wrestlers are like, oh, you're coming to the Royal Rumble this year, right? You're coming, right? It's her favourite pay-per-view of the whole year. She definitely wants to wrestle in the Royal Rumble one day." As for whether a WWE comeback would be happening or possible, Kairi would state that the former WWE CEO Vince McMahon himself left the door open ahead of a WWE exit in 2020. Quote, "Vince said the door is always open. You're always welcome to come back. If she comes back one day, she would love to team up with Asuka again, team up with Io Sky, or maybe even go against Io Sky. Who knows?" So anything's possible when it comes to Kairi Sane. Would you like to see Kairi back in WWE? But there you go, guys. It's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the WN365 roster by clicking that join button. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.